All right, so here is something I wish I was told when I was suffering from anxiety. Anxiety is not a life sentence, and it's not your identity. I know anxiety can make you feel isolated, overwhelmed, and afraid. But let me be clear, you are not broken. What few understand is that anxiety is the result of an overactive nervous system. Your nervous system is reacting as if you're in danger, and it's attempting to protect you even though you're perfectly safe. The good news, though, is that you can calm your nervous system back down. You can fully recover and be free from all these sensations that you've been experiencing. So today, I'm going to explain why your anxiety can feel so overwhelming and the steps you can take to overcome it and be free from anxiety. Let's begin. All right, if you're living with anxiety, you've probably noticed how strange and inconsistent the symptoms can be. Some days you're panicked and dealing with a bunch of strange and intense sensations. And other days, the symptoms can be fairly mild and manageable. This is extremely unsettling because there can be seemingly no rhyme or reason for this wide variation in your symptoms. But know that that's just how anxiety operates. You need to understand that your body is not broken. What is happening is your nervous system is stuck in high gear, and so it's constantly trying to protect you. It's engaging your fight or flight response as if you need to fight or flee a dangerous threat. But why is it doing that? Well, it's doing that because you have begun to see your symptoms as threats. You might be having all types of symptoms: heart palpitations, tight chest, dizziness, panic attacks, and any number of strange sensations. What is happening is your brain is misinterpreting these symptoms as dangerous and threatening. For instance, heart palpitations might make your heart feel like it's beating out of your chest. And so your brain starts to worry that you're going to have a heart attack. That's a problem because when you become afraid that you might be having a heart attack, it reinforces this mistaken belief that you're in danger. Let me assure you that you're not having a heart attack and that none of these symptoms are harmful. I know they feel that way. I know they feel harmful, but they are not. I've done episodes breaking down why these symptoms aren't harmful. But for today, what I want you to know is that these symptoms are just a side effect of excess adrenaline and stress hormones. In other words, these symptoms are caused by your fight or flight response. It can cause your heart rate to increase, your chest to become tight. It can cause panic attacks and all those other symptoms. But the fortunate truth is that you can stop fearing these sensations. And when that happens, your nervous system will start calming down. And that is exactly how recovery happens. So let's talk through it. Okay, when anxiety strikes, the instinct that all of us have is to both resist and to avoid. Just so you know, resistance is one of the foundations of anxiety. If you have anxiety, you are instinctively resisting and fighting against it. Let's use an example. Let's imagine you feel anxiety coming on and your chest becomes tight. What you do is you instinctively tighten up your body and you resist against anxiety. Your body becomes tense and you brace yourself for the oncoming anxiety. Unfortunately, though, this is the completely wrong response. But not only do we resist, we also try to avoid. We try to avoid experiencing anxiety, and so we steer clear of doing all the things that might trigger our anxiety. And that's a problem, because avoidance reinforces the idea that anxiety is dangerous. It is you telling your brain that anxiety is a real threat, and that is the exact opposite of what we want to do. All right, so recovery starts with doing the opposite of what we've been doing. First off, instead of resisting against anxiety, we have to surrender to our anxiety. We have to experience anxiety without fighting it or resisting it. To do that, we have to just allow it to be present without reacting as if it's dangerous. Now, if you've been following this channel, then you know that this is step number 2 of the fearless approach that I teach. Second, we must stop avoiding our anxiety. I call this the law of opposites. The law of opposites states that if anxiety is telling you to do something, you do the opposite. In other words, if anxiety is telling you to skip work today, you get out of bed and you go to work. Or if anxiety is telling you to not go to that party, you get dressed and you head out the door to that event. When we do these things, we begin the process of convincing our brain that anxiety is not harmful and it is not dangerous. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this is going to be easy. In fact, you're likely to feel anxious when you're at work and when you're at that party. But you have to remember that these feelings and these sensations are harmless. They're sensations created by your defense system, and that they're actually a sign of your body in an ultra protective and safe state. As a side note, if you're new to this channel and you're looking for a full blueprint for recovery, I've put that in the link below. It's called the 5-step cure to anxiety and panic attacks, and I'm giving it to you completely free for joining me here today. All right, let's talk about recovery for a minute. As you make your way through recovery, here's what I want you to keep in the back of your mind. I want you to remember that recovery doesn't happen with a snap of the fingers. Instead, recovery involves retraining your nervous system through small and consistent actions. Here are a few of the core principles that make this possible. Number 1, stop fighting anxiety. Like I talked about, the more you resist anxiety, the stronger it becomes. Recovery starts when you stop treating anxiety as an enemy and instead let it come and go without any resistance. Number 2, signaling that you're safe. Your nervous system is always asking the question, am I safe? Every time you engage in normal activities, despite feeling anxious, you're answering that question with a resounding yes. Number 3, progress, not perfection. Recovery is not linear. Some days are going to be harder than others, but what matters is that you're continuing to take small steps forward, even on the tough days. Right now, I know it can feel like anxiety controls your life. I've been there. I was stuck with anxiety for nearly 2 years, and I had almost every symptom that anxiety can create. But like me, you can fully recover. And just think about it for a second. Imagine a life where anxiety no longer dictates your decisions, where you can just wake up and go through your day without any fear and without any sensations. I promise that will happen if you just put yourself on the recovery path and follow the principles that I'm teaching on this channel. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, do me a favor and hit the like button and notification button. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.